Wait, don't click away. I promise you, this isn't just another piece of AI slop. What you're about to hear is a highly informative, educational, and honestly incredibly entertaining explainer of the 2026 smash hit Colony. We're talking about a movie that literally redefined the global box office and the horror genre as a whole. And today, we are uncovering the dark, psychological truths hidden right beneath its surface. Seriously, just imagine it. What if humanity's absolute last safe place suddenly became its inescapable prison? Directed by the same visionary genius who gave us Train to Busan, this film completely flips the apocalypse upside down. We're talking about monsters that evolve and adapt like a highly advanced AI algorithm. If you love deep dive explainers like this one, do me a huge favor and smash that like button real quick. It really helps out. All right, let's unlock the terrifying secrets of the Doongwoori building. Chapter 1. The Bioterror Lockdown and a Deadly Quarantine. Okay, let's dive into this. The whole nightmare kicks off at a glittering biotech conference in downtown Seoul, and things go wrong fast. At 1 p.m., the prestigious Chains Bio Conference begins. Just 15 minutes later, literally 1:15 p.m., this genius but seriously twisted biologist, Seo Young-chol, steps out of the crowd and just injects the hosting CEO with an unidentified, highly volatile virus. 5 short minutes later at 1:20, the CEO violently loses his humanity and mutates into this incredibly aggressive creature. Total chaos erupts. And by 2 p.m., a full, uncompromising government lockdown. The massive, gleaming Doongwoori skyscraper is completely sealed off. No one gets in, and more importantly, no one gets out. So, trapped inside this high-rise quarantine is a pretty unique group of survivors. You've got Professor Kwon Se-jeong, played by the absolute legend Jun Ji-hyun, who's a fierce biotech expert, desperately trying to decipher the virus just to stay alive. Then there's Seo Young-chol, the very guy who created the virus. And get this, he claims to hold the only antibodies. And bringing the real emotional core to the story, we have Choi Hyun-suk. He's a desperate security guard fighting tooth and nail to protect his sister, Choi Hyun-hee, who is a brilliant IT whiz and uses a wheelchair. This heavy-hitting cast is forced into a brutal, claustrophobic fight for survival across offices, elevators, and basements against the threat they can't even begin to predict. Which really begs the question, what would you actually do if you found yourself trapped in a skyscraper with a rapidly evolving virus? Would you hide? Try to fight your way out? Negotiate? Drop a comment below right now with your ultimate survival strategy. Because honestly, to survive this specific threat, you'd have to deal with something entirely unprecedented in horror lore. Chapter 2. The Evolving Hive Mind and a Shared Intelligence. You kind of need to wipe everything you know about classic horror monsters right out of your memory. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how clearly it juxtaposes classic Romero monsters against Colony's terrifying AI-like inflected. Traditional zombies are mindless, solitary hunters with static behavior, right? They just shamble forward. But Colony gives us something entirely different. We're talking shared intelligence, evolving tactics, and synchronized, almost dance-like animalistic movements. If one infected learns a new skill, like walking upright on 2 legs or figuring out how to open a door, boom, that information is instantly uploaded to the rest of the horde. They literally know where the humans are hiding because they operate as a single, terrifying superorganism. And that brings us to a really profound thought from director Yeon Sang-ho. He said, "In today's world where collective intelligence dominates everything, I thought true humanity might lie in individuality." He was directly inspired by the rapid rise of artificial intelligence and how modern algorithms and social media kind of push us all into standardized, uniform ways of thinking. So these evolving monsters, they are essentially a dark, gory mirror reflecting the terrifying conformity of our modern digital life. If the horde represents the ultimate standardized collective, then the humans absolutely must rely on what makes them distinct to survive. Chapter 3. The Psychological Prison and the Illusion of Safety. You see, this story is so much more than just a simple action film. It's a heavy psychological thriller. The way the authorities handle this crisis plays perfectly on our modern anxieties. By sealing the building and trapping innocent people in the name of the greater good, the film illustrates this chilling scenario where authorities prioritize absolute control over individual lives. The unfettered spread of the virus inside perfectly mirrors the unfettered spread of misinformation outside, basically turning this beautiful, gleaming skyscraper into a massive psychological pressure cooker. So it forces us to ask a pretty horrifying question. Does humanity actually deserve to survive? Think about it. If we just surrender our individuality out of pure fear and sacrifice our vulnerable populations, are we genuinely any better than that infected hive mind outside?
If the psychological depths of this film are blowing your mind as much as they did mine, go ahead and hit that share button. Send this explainer to a horror-loving friend.
Chapter 4, a record-breaking phenomenon and box office dominance. Now, let's talk real-world impact, because Colony wasn't just a critical darling at its Cannes midnight premiere. This $12 million production absolutely dominated the global box office. I mean, 2 million admissions in just 5 days. That makes Colony the absolute fastest 2026 film to cross the 2 million moviegoer mark in South Korea. Audiences were literally flocking to the theaters. And it wasn't just for the incredibly choreographed action or even the epic return of Jun Ji-hyun to the silver screen after 11 years, though that was amazing. It was because the film's core message about identity and survival deeply, deeply resonated with people. And this brilliantly illustrates how the film completely crushed its box office competition. With over 199,000 admissions on its highest single-day opening alone, it totally dwarfed major hits like The King's Warden and captured nearly 72% of the entire Korean market revenue on its opening weekend. It was, for sure, an unstoppable force.
Chapter 5, The Ultimate Resolution and the Power of Individuality.
So, what does this all mean? Why did this film connect so intensely with millions of people? Well, it leaves us with one incredibly hard truth: evolve or die. But here's the catch. True survival isn't just about staying alive physically. It requires individuality. Our protagonist, Professor Kwan, doesn't survive by just fighting like a brute. She survives by being a dissenting voice. She studies the hive mind, and she flat out refuses to assimilate into the collective panic. It turns out our greatest weapon against a collective threat isn't some magic vaccine or a locked door. It's our unique ability to think for ourselves and remain distinctly human. All right, thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss out, and go ahead and check out our next explainer right here on the channel. See ya!